Hi class. Today you will be creating a basic circuit that is a flat circuit. And so I'm going to give you some tips to do this. In a different lesson you will be doing more complicated ones, so I'm only going to teach the simple one. All right, so first of all, we are going to be using this copper sticker tape. It is copper, so it does conduct electricity. If you think about the lesson when you learned about insulators and conductors. And so we can use this as a wire without it actually taking up space, so that we can actually have it in your binder as an example, and it will still be a functioning circuit. So you need a piece of copper tape that's a little bit shorter than your index card. So it doesn't need to go from end to end, just be a little bit shorter. You're actually going to need two of those. You're going to use one as your positive wire and one as your negative wire. And so you're going to have two that are similar in length. They don't have to be perfect. All right. And like I said, we're going to use one as positive, one as negative. And so let me show you some tips on using it, because actually using this copper sticker tape can be very frustrating if you don't know a few of the tips. So it can be very difficult to peel the back off. And so the best tip for that is not to try to peel the back off to start, but to give yourself a little edge from the front. So if you go right on the very corner and actually scratch at the copper, just kind of push on the copper, not try to pull the back, and you push it up so you end up with a little tiny edge, then you'll be able to grab that edge and separate it. Okay? That's going to be sticky. So if I were to pull the whole back off, the whole thing's going to curl up and it's going to waste it, so it can't be used. And so I'm just going to fold a tiny bit over so I have a little bit of a start to stick it so it can't curl up and get ruined. All right, so I kind of straightened that out, and now I'm going to place it on one end of the index card and push that down. So now it's stuck just by that little bit, and I'm ready to peel the backing off now so it can't go crazy. So if I pull that little tab that I folded a little bit towards me, and while I'm pulling it, take my other finger and go right over the top of it, so I'm kind of smoothing it down as I go. That will save a lot of problems of it twisting and getting stuck. All right. So now I've stuck the sticker on, it's nice and flat, and I'm ready to place the other part of the wire. So if you think about what you've learned about a circuit, you know that we need our electrons to be able to go from the negative to the positive side of the battery. So the easiest way to do that is to figure out where your battery goes, and then decide, do you want it to be positive up or negative up? It doesn't matter. But whatever you decide, you need to stick with, otherwise it's not going to work. So I am going to go ahead and label the one that I have stuck down as a plus. So that means that every time I put the battery down, I know I'm putting the positive side down. See how that has the plus sign on the back? I'm always going to match it to the one I've labeled. Okay. I am now ready to figure out where my switch is going to go. So I want to be able to control it with a switch. So I have a brad, and I just open that brad. The part that is going to connect to the other wire is going to be right here, and I want this part of the brad to go overlap the battery, so that since I labeled this as positive, I need this brad to go onto the negative part of the battery, and the bottom of this brad will touch the negative sticker that I put down. So I just want to figure out where the sticker is going to go. So if I place that right over the top of that copper, see how I've placed it actually right over the top of that, I'm going to hold the battery, and now I've kind of figured out where this little, the top of the brad goes. So I'm going to just make a little mark with a pen or a pencil so I can kind of mark where that goes so that it lines up and touches the battery. So now I know where to put my next wire. So again, I'm going to not try to peel the back off. It ends up not working very well. But if you come to the front, scratch at the front just a titch, there it goes, it pushed it up. And now I can do a slight pull away, push that down, so now it's folded. I have a little starting point. I'm going to take this part of the sticker, I'm going to stick it on the dot that I just drew. So now it's ready for me to pull. When I stick it, I want it to be kind of parallel to this one. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but they should be close. All right, so I've kind of stuck it right around where that dot goes, making sure I actually went slightly above it, which is totally fine. All right, so now I'm ready to pull the backing. And as I pull the backing, I'm going to use my other finger to kind of push that down. All right, so now I have the one that's going to be for the positive wire. I'm going to mark this as the negative, and I'm going to need a little piece of tape to put the switch down. Placing the battery temporarily will help you because you want to make sure that's solid and touching the positive wire. I want the head of the brad, the round part, to be on the negative wire I just placed so that it overlaps. So I'm going to hold all that in place with one finger, and then I can go in and just tape that part of the switch down. So now if I touch the switch, it will hold that battery down. All right, so the next thing to do is to make it so the battery doesn't just slide around. So we kind of want it to stay put so that all we have to do is touch the switch and it works, even if we were to pick it up. The easiest way to attach your battery down is to use more of this tape, not the clear tape, because we don't want to have the tape be an insulator and stop the battery from touching that positive side. So I want it to stay where I want it though, and it's temporary. I'll be taking it off at the end of today's lessons, so I just need something that's going to last for a little while. So I just need a little chunk. It's about the length of like this thing, so it's not very long. All right, I'm going to scratch the top, peel it up, see how it curled. That's why those longer ones, it doesn't work to do that. But we're actually going to be encouraging a little bit of a roll. It's like one of those tape rolls, you know, if you wanted to hang something. So I kind of just I rolled it so the sticky side is out. If you don't know how to do that, get me and ask for help. So I'm going to put that little roll, the tape roll of copper right there, and push it down really firmly and put the switch back. All right, so all that's left is attaching a light so that when we open and close the circuit, we have something that's taking a load. So I have a little LED. Before you open it, pay attention which side is positive, which side is negative. You guys have now used these enough that you should know which is positive, which is negative. So once you figure out which is negative and which is positive, I'm going to open that, making sure that whichever side was positive, you have facing the positive side. I can put it here, I can put it here, I can put it anywhere I want. I'm going to choose to put it right there. Once I know where it goes, making sure positive is on the positive, I'm ready to stick this little round sticker, which just helps hold that light bulb where we want it. All right. So you're going to stick that down and then reinforce. We want the light, we want to make sure that these wires are touching the copper. So I'm actually going to tape it right next to the copper so they don't wiggle too much. All right, and let's see if